map bans for you, though, as we get ready to start up PENTA versus OrgLess, and the teams with what they ban. We'll see what the 5-map pool shrinks down to as well. And a team such as PENTA, we say this time and time again, they can play and beat you on pretty much every single map. It gets a little rote to constantly have to keep describing it, but Border and Oregon, 2 of the most seen maps, typically will not be available. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see us go somewhere a little unconventional. Now,
honestly,
it could even be Coastline.
Yes.
We could seriously go to Coastline, especially knowing that most teams will ban out Consulate. I wouldn't be surprised if OrgLess takes it, but no, PENTA will probably ban Coastline. So we could have a Consulate, or we could end up in Bizarro Land where we have 3 coastlines in a row, which I don't think has ever happened before. Just waiting on PENTA's last ban as Clubhouse goes out from OrgLess. And it's surprising that OrgLess will take out Villa and Clubhouse because those are the 2 maps that are new. And when I say new, Clubhouse saw all of those changes. So it is something where you will have to have teams.
Yeah, there we go. We get Coastline again. I'm not too sad.
I'm not too sad, but we're having a Latin America flashback right now where they conspire against us.
I'm pretty sure they do it on purpose.
They do this on purpose.
OrgLess, though, I had a talk with KS. He was telling me, on the circumstances of bringing aces in. I won't dig too much into them, but basically they didn't have too much time to prepare with aces before starting up the season. He was added literally yesterday to the squad.
Yes.
So it makes a lot of sense that they remove Villa on Clubhouse, but really they seem to be okay as a unit. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to bring them victory yesterday. So, they'll have to play above and beyond today because they're facing KS's X-roster because, we'll remind you, Shate was brought into, exchanged with KS, so he was the replacement. And then Kanto comes up and basically replaced Shate on PENTA. Bit of a grudge match. KS definitely wants to show that his team, even though they're not up there yet, definitely wants to try to punch up to PENTA.
And he's been an exemplary addition, too. He went Super Saiyan in a number of matches in Atlantic City. He carried really hard for the team. He had a really good kill-death ratio that we also saw, and that's going to be a big focus of his. He can play supporting roles, but Kanto is also a pure fragger. He is somebody who, when let loose, and you can let Kanto be Kanto, you're going to get the most out of him. So I am a little surprised. Let's just cycle back to these map bans for a second here. Coastline is a map that PENTA has done really, really well on. For God's sakes, they won a world championship on this map. I am very surprised that OrgLess would allow it to get through. Now, mind you, they banned Villa first, which is peculiar because you would think you'd leave it till the end, unless they just have no idea what they're doing on it and were worried that PENTA would call their bluff and maybe just, play with very minimal strategies on Villa. But what I think is most interesting is PENTA banned out Consulate. It wasn't too long ago that Consulate was the crown jewel in PENTA's map pool. It was definitively their best map for about a season or so, I would say, and I think a lot of others would agree.
Even more, leading up to Brazil finals, they were pretty much uncontested on Consulate. However, after that, it kind of started to go down. You see, you guys have been voting for 87% for PENTA Sports versus the 13% of OrgLess. It makes a lot of sense after PENTA's play yesterday, but Consulate kind of fell off for PENTA, and we saw in Atlantic City how Liquid were able to dismantle them on the map, especially in that grand final. So they've kind of been slipping. They've been maybe trying to expand their map pool a bit too much. But hey, now that their coach Shas has brought in, Feral Jackal to help him out, the ex-coach for IDK, it means that there's a lot more time for preparation, the coaches.
And the other thing too is because Consulate was always a must ban against PENTA, they don't bother to scrim it, they don't bother to play it because they know they're never going to get it in a match because it's always going to be banned. So their performance on the map will begin to slip because they don't play it with regularity. But all that said, for a third time, let's head back to Coastline. Beautiful, beautiful sunny beaches, wonderful vistas in Spain. And I feel like everybody's got the DreamHack Valencia vibes right now as we are back again in the country where we will be, or, well, I will not be.
Hey, I'll take 2 dives in the pool for you.
It's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
That's a lie. It's a blatant lie, Parker Mackay.
You can't rhyme my name with lie. You can't just do that. OrgLess will get the very first ban. And when you face a team like PENTA, what do you even begin to ban at this phase? You speculated maybe a Glaz being taken out of the action, possibly a Hibana, but OrgLess has taken their time.
UNS isn't he'll be the glass player for Penta, but not that huge of a player for them. They're not really reliant on him, like, for example, Vitality bringing Zephyr on the glass. But here, we'll remove Zofia, so Jonas won't be playing Zofia.
Which he's been playing quite frequently.
So we'll see how this goes here. OrgLess with KS has been playing very strongly with a Jaeger on the defense, but on the attack, Dokkaebi's been a strong operator for them. But the Ying will be removed. It makes a lot of sense as well. You know why OrgLess have literally the best Ying in the world? I think he's pretty much shown it for the past couple seasons. Of course, we're talking about Hungry, even bringing the 612 to a lot of success. First defense, mirror removed. Not surprising at all with the the current state of the metagame. And what'll be the last one? I'm expecting possible Jaeger.
It's amazing to see how much of a profound impact Mira has had, and the fact that she has, I think at the moment, the highest ban ratio of any single operator. It's not really surprising. She has fundamentally changed so many different sites and so many different strategies, and it's almost ironic that she gets banned every single time now that we've moved to a 3-site rotation, because a lot of these sites, a lot of these third sites, which have never really been in favor for the players, are more viable because of Mira. And now, not only are teams having to expand their site rotation by 1, but they have to do that without the one operator that might be able to salvage a defense for a lot of teams. So it's amazing to see how that happened. And like I said, kind of ironic. But Valkyrie will be your last ban to round things out with Zofia, Ying, and Mira.
Well, I wonder what Hungary will be bringing. He's usually the smoke, actually, for OrgLess. He's actually one of the better smokes in Europe. So I'm kind of surprised he's not the one locking that one down. They'll ring in the ACOG, but I think that'll be the 6th pick. I'm not surprised that KS is bringing Jaeger. We saw him yesterday playing very, very strongly on really whatever site they were playing on Oregon. So maybe it'll be a similar way here. Just required a lot of help from his teammates, and we'll get the mute played out outside of the... So switch out for the Maestro and Jonas. Bringing in the glass, the Zofia is not really an option.
Presuming that either Hungry or Rips will be bringing a bulletproof camera, I would imagine it's probably going to be Hungry, because you're going to want that C4 from the mute being available to you, as he's the only member of the team that has a nitro cell, because you don't have it on anybody else. If the dog has the bulletproof camera, which he doesn't actually, they have just put themselves in a bit of a bind, because the Dokkaebi has subbed out to a glass. The only 2 reliable counters, other than a counter smoke or a C4, to see through that cloud of smoke is going to be an Evil Eye from Maestro, which he has 2, or a bulletproof camera, as it also can see through the smoke. But they've put themselves in a position where now Jonas, who is also somebody who just doesn't miss his shots, on an operator that can wreak havoc if you don't know where the push is coming from and where he stands amidst that shroud of smoke.
It's very possible to see him playing the glass on the garage outside, and then from the vents up here, exactly in this position, have a clear line of sight all the way to the back. And because here you'll be forced to reinforce both sides of the wall, because there is no Mira and you're not bringing any cameras,
right.
Well, as a defense, you're not really flexible if there's a push on the bedroom. You've already locked the whole site off. You're going to have to rely on defense from downstairs in the kitchen to make sure that you don't get cut off on the rotations.
So, as for the lineup right now, Penta running a Lion, one of their favorite operators, where they say that their strategy is literally to just press a button and go in. Hungry gets picked off right away. That Doc gets caught looking, and Kanto gets away with a shot up top on that roof by the ventilations, looking all the way in towards the balcony to try and figure out exactly where that Doc was playing. But Hungry getting a little bit too brazen, playing too close to the sun, and he ends up getting burned.
Well, Jonas continuing to drone in the hallway, go by the L. It's not spotted anybody just yet. It's a bit of an oddity here to see no congestion in the VIP lounge, but Kanto just comes right into the Hall of Fame. We've mentioned how important Hall of Fame is as a position for any attacker trying to come into the site. Well, all of the Legion mines now, the goo mines, will get taken away. Got to be careful as well not to peek out. But Aces, oddly enough, is playing in hookah.
and they'll manage to work away at that VIP wall. Fabian still watching up top. They have not used any of those 2 Lion calls whatsoever, so they have plenty of opportunity to freeze the defense in place. With the ADSs taken out, Kanto can just sail frag grenades right in. Rips has been downed as well, and he'll get finished off by Pengu with that long line of sight. The real question mark is, when is Chaos going to work his way back to sight? He's sitting far off. Aces will get picked, and that'll be a big advantage. Chaos finds his way back. He takes out the Buck and will shred him, but the diffuser will go down. So even though he gets the kill, he'll still lose out on the actual play itself. Chaos will take almost all of Chaos's health off the bat. He'll find Para, and that'll leave just the former member of Penta, who will shred Fabian. That'll hurt his KD. Chaos holds a hard angle, but Kanto peeks around the corner. He gets the first kill, and he gets the last round. Number 1 will go to Penta onto the push onto Penthouse and Theater.
I really hope that this map does not turn into, hey, we're going to rely on KS the entirety of the match. We've seen in the past that putting all your eggs in one basket, as you would have mentioned usually, is too much of a risk.
Yes.
And then you add the fact that you're playing against one of the most cohesive teams in Pro League. One player is not going to be the major difference. Unfortunately here, OrgLess, their first round was definitely going that way. But, well, we'll see what happens in round number 2 as Penta pick one up. It was interesting to see that the grenades were lobbed in the back. So, you know, the ADSs weren't really able to do much. They were already cleared. So they just went directly down into the site, got the plant off on the bed. And once that happened, they still had Jonas playing by that VIP window, peering all the way into the hallway. And the instant a Jaeger tried to move through there, or any rotation was coming up from the Cool Vibe stairs, he's able to catch anybody off guard just by holding the tight angle.
And it's a very powerful position to be, because you've got that long range, you've got the damage. The damage drop off on Glaz really doesn't become as much of a factor for you when you've got the rest of the team there to make up for it, which is where you saw the way that Penta fanned out at that point. Basically had Fabian running in to try and go for a pinch onto the back of the site, but I don't think he expected KS to be that close, playing at the top of the main lobby stairs, watching the luggage doorway. So unfortunate that they ended up with giving KS a non-impact frag at that point, but it didn't really matter whatsoever to the actual outcome of the round, because the Jaeger was a little bit too far off. The call for supports, if it came early, it went ignored, or KS was too worried about a potential rotate being cut off. So for Penta, though, they're going to run with the exact same lineup this time around. It worked the first time. They'll see how much it can work on a different site, as they're now going to attack downstairs in kitchen. And what I find is very interesting, because there's a 3-rotation site, if you win, or 3-site rotation, if you win, you have to go somewhere else. But if you lose, you can go back. We're seeing very few teams do that. Whereas previously, you know, it would be you defend Master or Penthouse, you know, Theater, it doesn't work, you go to attack, you come back and you do it again. A lot of teams are opting, saying, let's just go to a second site right away and keep that rotation
They
going.
don't want to get locked into one site and just tunnel vision on it.
Absolutely.
Because even though you're playing 5 rounds and you can tell what mistakes you are doing, you don't want to get locked in. It is very much a mindset thing that you have to keep up for.
I mean, it brings me back to Pain Gaming, who went to CCTV on Bank 4 consecutive rounds in a row, lost the first 3, and only because of an incredible 1v3 clutch, they claimed that 4th round. It was very near to being 4 rounds on the same site and 4 rounds lost. Pengu is going to take care of KS and get a second now onto Aces, as he's doing great work inside of that bathroom, looking all the way towards VIP through the record hall. Para is very far off site, and he's a flexible player. He can work in a situation where he can either roam quite easily or he can anchor things down, though there are times when OrgLess dispatches him on roam in an ineffective way for his skills.
It's an odd thing to say that the Buck actually went from the bathroom, taking no damage, and still got 2 kills off of it. Just Pengu, absolute incredible skill there being displayed. The Glaz, though, of Jonas will be lost, but with the Legion being removed so early on in the round by the Buck, OrgLess will have little in the way of slowing their opponents down. And as I say that, the C4 will come up. Pengu blown to smithereens.
And that's a good play from Rips to at least give a little bit of ease to the rest of his team. They're not going to need to worry too much about the potential threat looming over top of them, because the shredding ability from that skeleton key is now off the board, though he has ripped up most of that floor. So at least it will give a headache to the defenders who are trying to sit comfortably underneath. The Vigil of Para is going to be an obstacle for this team. They have not been able to pin him down. They've determined that he's somewhere inside of the main lobby, and Kanto just missing a rotate underneath him as he himself went for a rotate back into Master. So this gusto of Penta seems to have slowed. The final EE1D will be used with 20 seconds left, and the plant from Goga going down. On the other side of the wall is Rips, who could hear it and goes for a pre-fire, but will get down from Fabian, who had his team's back, putting a 3v2. Fabian, though, will meet Hungary and lose. Para, still unable to be found, will take out Kanto, and Goga, who gets the plant down, will now need to show his stuff. He'll go for a pre-fire against Hungary. It's him against the world. Para does have next to no health, though. Goga working with his teammates. The drones will be pinging away. Goga finds one on a Hungary. All he needs to do is one-shot Goga, the clutch! A lot of people give him flack for being the guy who has to get the plant, but the Spaniard will show his strength and flex his muscles. That's 2 kills, though Para was just a gust away from death. A good clutch, and that'll be 2 in a row for Penta.
Yeah, I have to give it to Fabian entering the lobby just the way he did, and just not being contested at all by the Vigil that was standing right by him in the security room, did not hear him move in, and they lost the player on the site because of it, which allowed the diffuser plant to happen. And from then on, it was basically all down to the skill play, and as you saw, Goga very good on his toes, able to switch between the two targets, dispatching them at the end, putting the second round for Penta on the board.
It might seem puzzling to a lot of people as to why certain members of teams die in what seems to be a needless way, but there is absolutely dying for your team. And there are times when, if you know that you have a numbers advantage, or if you know that you're in a position where you need to get something done, i.e. there's 15 seconds, you absolutely need to get that plant down, or your chance of winning the round is over. You have an opportunity to possibly use your life to secure the objective, which is what happened, and entrust your teammates. Dying for team is very much something that you will do, and I don't know if exactly that's what was planned. It sure looked like it. We've seen certain team members, especially what Millennium did, they had somebody die for team. They had that coordinated push. I believe it was Hicks died, and then Liven was there to clean up. That was absolutely dying for the team to determine the location of where the other remaining opponent is. So something that Fabian could have definitely been doing there, as you noted. So kudos for picking that up.
Analyst.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Today.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we can do everything, Parker. We're multifaceted.
I love that term.
It is very much a fantastic term, that's for sure. But back to the game, we'll see a defense down in the kitchen and in the stock. The full wall, well, half of it at least, will be taken away, forced, and wonder what they're going to do with the main hallway wall here. It doesn't seem to be reinforced at all. Maybe just late reinforcement. I wonder where no, they're just going to leave it that way. What? Okay.
All right. That is there's got to be something that they have set up and planned there.
Okay. The bathroom. They realized the buck came in from there the last time. It should always be reinforced.
And new Pengu, goodbye. So always nice to see that kind of stuff. Always nice to see that kind of stuff flash up on our screen. Obviously not
definitely
quite,
worth $20.
Yeah, I mean, or however many, however many cents they purchased the whatever account for. But Jonas also died very early last round. So I had just said that we don't see teams typically go to the same site twice in a row on this new setup. That is not the case for OrgLess. They'll go back downstairs. And the reason why I said that Jonas died early last time was Glaz is very, very powerful on this site. On both ends, whether it's A, whether it's B, etc., it's very easy for a Glaz to establish control by setting up smokes at one of the choke points and then essentially cutting off a potential rotate, providing the rest of your team has done the requisite drone clearing or roam clearing from above. Pengu, who's done so well in the game so far, will get shredded by aces, just unaware of where the Legion was playing. And unfortunate for Penta fans as they will find themselves down 1, and aces goes for a second, but Fabian with great precision. 2 for Fabian. Oh my God. Great shots, as there's no chance. Kanto gets 1, and amidst that chaos of the smoke from Glaz, there will be a plant going down. Para will determine that it is easiest for him to run outside, wasting a lot of time, and it will put all the weight onto the shoulders of Rips, who will be pinged away. Trying to find out where that Glaz is. Jonas cannot flinch. The EE1D will freeze the Maestro, and bleed 4 seconds off of that timer. It's already about to hit the 1/4 mark left, and it is desperate times for OrgLess. Maestro gets down. Jonas will finish up what had been started by his team, and as Fabian shreds Para on that final kill, that's Penta with 3 in a row, and they're making this look easy right now.
Yeah, very much so. I think OrgLess just running around like headless chickens at the end of it, because Penta, whenever they see an opening, you saw them dive in for the plant. The Habana of Goga just came in, got that diffuser down, and then ran back out of the kitchen. Unfortunately, OrgLess were not ready for that kind of play. I think they've been scrimming way too many French teams at this point, because they're expecting plants to go off at literally the last 10 seconds. But that's something Penta themselves have preached against for the past year, looking back to when they played as a mixed team in Nordic Championship all the way back to this side of the year in 2018, to say those last 20-second plants and pushes are just not viable. Once you have an opportunity, seize it. And that's, you know, the means of production that usually Fabian will go for.
I appreciate the reference there. So
It's especially for you.
Thanks.
I've heard
man.
things in Twitch chat about you.
Thanks, man. This is
Where's King George?
I don't know where George is. Not in Pro League. That's where George is.
Oh boy, that's a barn burner right there. Yikes.
It's what's been really amazing to me is over the last 2 seasons how Fabian's growth, I suppose, as a frag getter has really come to be. Now,
It's the line.
It's not even just the line. I don't think we can see that because he's also getting kills on defense. Obviously now they haven't played defense yet, so we can't say for this game, but we've seen him get it on defense in previous matchups. And I say this because over the first, I think really 2 seasons of Penta where they were as dominant as they were relying a lot on Jonas to get those kills, KS to a certain extent, and especially Pengu. And that's when I think the conversation of Pengu being the best player in the world really started to ramp up, was not just the diversity of operators that he would use. He used something like 16 or 17, somewhere in that range for the 6 Invitational, which was an astonishingly high number. But also the fact that Fabian was doing a great job IGLing, but wasn't necessarily the person tasked with getting kills. Over the last 2 seasons, he has contended with every single member of his team and often led the way in being able to get the kills that he needs to get. And I think that growth as an IGL, which I think a lot of people would already consider him one of the best IGLs, his ability to also tie it together is part of the reason why we have seen this team be getting better and better and better.
Yeah, it is a very scary and daunting thing to think about, that a team like Penta could even get better. And it's the beauty of really Pro League and competitive play of Siege in general, is that no matter how good you think you are, you can always get a higher level. How is Aces still alive? Gets tagged down to barely any health. I think that's a 0 point something on there. I'll have to get confirmation with somebody at the UI team here, but you'll see one down on the floor. Pengu will get tagged and taken out, but a refrag from Kanto Raketti. Goga will jump in and get the kill, finally finishing off Aces, but again, to the price of Pengu going down.
So you basically trade off a buck to get 2 kills. Aces was a dead man walking at that point, and Pengu has now been the opening death for Penta 2 rounds in a row, and they've still thrived without having him. You've got Kanto from above using that gadget to try and figure out where things are below, hitting all the railings, and having a bit of a frustrating experience taking care of the ADS situated downstairs in kitchen, which, by the way, OrgLess has now gone to for a 3rd time. After expending a magazine and a half out of that pistol, I think it's probably wise for Kanto to just give up on that fight, as the rest of the team will have to drone. But they've done a good job. They've pinched 2 of the roamers. You've got 1 off-site player, and that's the Vigil of Paris, sitting inside of the main lobby by the front reception desk. He's really the only person you have to take care of before you get to the Maestro and Smoke playing on-site.
Well, droning in here, Kanto on the IQ. He'll spot the rotation hole that's been set up, and the Smoke of Hungary that is going through it as we speak. Jonas making sure that they can pinch in from 2 different angles just to make sure that there are no rotations coming out from Hungary as he's falling back into the blue bar. A very odd position to be in at this point in time of the round.
He does have a position to possibly stop people from getting a push into the site. He'll use 2 of those smoke canisters, and that's exactly what he'll do. He'll slow them down as Para had gotten a kill onto Kanto, and one will drop, and Para gets another. Right now, he seems to be a huge issue for them. Jonas will be there to at least encourage his team to continue forward. It's just Goga and Jonas left as the final smoke canister will go down, and you can see from Rips, he does have that Evil Eye in a position to get info. It'll be fed in, and Rips will take out Goga, leaving just Jonas and Hungary there to clean up. Penta will lose their first round. Most importantly, OrgLess will get their first round as Hungry, playing in the main lobby, just goes for a pre-fire through the wall as information was given through that evil eye. And at least you can put your brooms away because OrgLess will avoid the sweep. Still a steep mountain to climb.
Very much so, but we'll see. Ain't no mountain high enough, as they say. Maybe OrgLess can bring it back, but I have to look at the mistakes that were made by PENTA in that round. They lost the Buck, sure, early on, but they got 2 kills off of it. The Jaeger and the Legion. Legion obviously being a super important operator for this defense slows things down quite a bit. And obviously removing KS off the board. So no more of that Jaeger that has been so important for them and just pure fragability for OrgLess. But still, even with that man advantage and overall utility advantage, PENTA were not able to go through with it because of the smart rotation from Hungry. Staying in that blue bar, providing information, slowing things down, even having enough time to open up a rotation hole back into the courtyard. And from there, he's able to set up with the help of the Maestro for a potential retake. But at that point, they already had the advantage. 2v1, took down the Habana. Easy round for OrgLess.
So for OrgLess, that was, I think that's why they stuck to the kitchen for 3 rounds in a row. They finally were able to realize what they were looking to do, and it's always something where teams can potentially realize where their mistakes happened. And I think they realized that part of it was Pengu's entry from above. You were able to establish that lack of verticality for PENTA, which did really hurt them. They did not have the presence upstairs that they needed to. And then the one big thing that PENTA has struggled with is nailing down Para. They have not been able to commit more than one body to taking care of Para in that main lobby. And because of that, the Vigil has been able to get at least 1 kill every single round, which has really hurt PENTA, because after they've established that control up top, transitioning to the site push has been their undoing for 2 rounds. Now, Goga did get the clutch 1 round to at least save them the embarrassment of losing 2 in a row, but that last round was exactly, I think, as what OrgLess was trying to have happen the 2 rounds previous.
Though what I really want to see in this round from OrgLess is the Maestro Echo Smoke combo. We've talked about it, we've hyped it up incessantly. I want to see how it works against, technically the best team in the world right now. So
right.
Rips has to stay alive for that, as remember, you cannot use those evil eyes, and same thing for the yokai drones, unless the operator is alive. You can't even move the angle. So gotta watch out for that on the camera. Pengu droning in, making sure that this time he won't be the first casualty on PENTA.
BattleEye claiming lots of casualties so far in this match in particular, racking the kill count up, far exceeding anything that we see on the scoreboard, and I think that's cause for celebration for everybody that watches and plays this game. And there goes another one. So Jonas will push his way in through the master bedroom. Now, because the site right now are the double bars, it's not as important to have that kind of level of control of master up top. And I think Jonas is going to realize there's really nobody there up to contest. He goes for a full 180 swivel, leaving that camera intact. It sounds like he will finally get it. And another key point is Pengu upstairs, I was going to say, left to his own devices, but they've been shutting him down effectively every single round, waiting underneath, because there's that transitional phase where you switch off at the skeleton key to go to your rifle. Every single time, that's been the time when Pengu has been felled.
Yeah, that's why a lot of teams have been even trying out a sludge more than the Buck. It's just a bit easier sometimes to time it, especially when you have a teammate nearby right to shoot down. And Kanto, what a shot. He's just moving in from below. There's nobody contesting Kanto Raketti on the 5-5-2. So he runs in, gets 2 free kills in the kitchen, and the E1D will force the defenders to stay in place just now.
And Kanto almost missed that shot on the Legion because he dipped down. Fabian will shred Hungry. And now it's a 4v2. Chaos eliminating Kanto, but for the real story here is how reliably PENTA has been able to get that diffuser down. Jonas gets lit up and dropped amidst the smoke. Chaos doesn't know this because he just kind of threw his rifle into the smoke and hoped for the best. An E1D will be used. That's the last one. A couple shots into the foyer just by the Sunrise bar. I don't know if they realize that Jonas is down. Rip's working his way in. They will finally figure it out and they'll clean up, but still a 2v2. Under half of the diffuser left to go. About to hit the 1/4 remaining mark. You'll hear those grenades will get eaten by the ADS. Chaos will get flashed, and they're just waiting to see if they can work on the diffuser. It does appear that the diffuser will go down. Rip's trying to go for it, but no time left. He's doing a great job of stopping them, and Goga is there to get the 2 kills as Chaos needs to get on that diffuser with the clock almost at 0, and PENTA will take all but 1 of their attack here on Coastline.
Goga's second clutch of this match. it definitely shows to a lot of people, a lot of the haters out there, he's definitely there. That's the thing. Support players are very difficult to really
Quantify.
show.
I would say quantify.
Very much so. To put them on the board and see, this is their impact on the round.
Yes.
And you know what? Today, it's being showed that no matter the operator, if it's a Thermite or if it's a Hibana, very comfortable on the op here. Goga, but of course, we hit now round number 5. It's end at least. We head into 6, which means that teams switch positions. And now we head to OrgLess on the attack, and not surprised at all, Dokkaebi being played. However, Aces will be playing it, not KS going over Thermite.
One of the things that we have to really credit on support players are a lot of their round is spent droning, doing intel work, calling shots, working their way in towards the site, often not even encountering an enemy unless there's a flank from one of the roamers, getting the plant down, and then probably dying. And that's something that we've seen a lot from Goga when they put him on the Thermite role. A lot of times, his job is really open the site up, try to get a plant down. If you die, you die. That's fine. You did your job. And there's a lot of comments online about, oh, Goga not being a strong addition to the team. Oh, Goga can't frag out. Even prompting Fabian to have to release a tweet saying, if you think that Goga is not a good addition to this team, then you are brainless. There are a number of players whose sole focus is just get into the site, use your utility, get a plant off. Goga takes a lot of flack for it. Another player who takes an enormous amount of flack for it is Goddess on Cloud9, even when she still goes 4 and 6 and gets the second most kills on her team, as somebody who's not supposed to be, the online masses think that they know better about the game than the actual people do. So hopefully this will kind of put to rest all that, all the drama that people create over Goga's role on the team.
Yeah, same thing for a player that used to be in Pro League, Avian. You know, I kind of shot him down when we were in Atlantic City, but I'll bring him back up this time. Though Lion will go down and Hungry will be lost to a quick run out. Kenta Ricchetti, just fantastic start to the round. OrgLess already facing their opponents, tough opponents, with a man down. Oddly enough, KS is not bringing the ACOG on the 5.56. I wonder if he's going to be a bit more of a Fragmite, a more aggressive Thermite, instead of just being the Vitality style of let's hold an angle for 2 minutes.
It's very interesting to not bring a Hibana on this site and instead go with a Thermite. That speaks to me that they're going to try to push in through Bathroom, because you really don't have a lot of other opportunities other than maybe using those exothermic charges above on a particular hatch, which is usually Hibana's bread and butter anyway. So an interesting choice, especially when we see how teams play differently when you have to use the Thermite rather than a Hibana as your main hard breacher. They'll work their way, OrgLess will work their way towards the Bathroom and see if there's nobody on either side. Goga is situated by the Mute Jammer, and there you go. The exothermic charge will be used on the wall just by Bathroom in a delivery. Para sees the Mute and will get the kill on Goga, who is too busy distracted from 2 separate angles. Pengu with 1 and Fabian with another will give an even bigger advantage to Penta, leaving just Chaos and Aces. But Chaos will get a kill on Fabian, and that's a nice one. Goes for a second, doesn't need that ACOG at all. A Logic Bomb being used from Aces, and this is all happening when we're only halfway through the round.
The smoke of Pengu is still available, and you hear those gas canisters too when they're thrown in. As KS, who's the one holding the diffuser, has to wait until his teammate is coming to help. Kanto will get one, but KS will refrag it. He turns it into a 1v1 with so much time left on the clock. The call is already happening against Pengu. So KS will have just a bit of knowledge of what's happening around. A lot of time still on the clock as he'll be able to spot the smoke. He wanted to leave the drone there on the floor for his teammates to give him information through. Fortunately for him, that will be lost. No more gas canisters left for Pengu, one of the strongest smokes in Europe. They're both kind of eyeballing the same angle, but there's a freezer in between one of them as KS looms bit by bit into the line of sight of Pengu, who sprays right onto the smoke as KS looking for revenge for the olden days. Stand right behind that A site, playing by the kitchen counter peek, and as Pengu gets the shot on KS. A beautiful play there by Pengu to clutch the round, and Penta Sports pick up the round. I have to say, a great start for Penta. Somehow turned the way of OrgLess, and then, as it was one player alive, there's still hope for Penta. The round isn't over until it actually does put that extra point on the board.
Right, and I mean, you've got one of the strongest, most clutch players in the entire team, in Pengu left against one of the strongest, most clutch players on OrgLess's team in KS left. But the big difference maker was that KS had to try to get into the site, which had been this Frankenstein patch job of half of it is open, half of it is closed. They had the mute jammers down to deny that information. He used a drone, which I think was a very smart play. There was a minute left and KS went to the drone because he realized with the clock management, you got time to do this. You have time to start to use that information gathering, but unfortunately for him, he got a little bit too ambitious with what his drone could get. Now, if he had to stash that conceivably in the back of the bathroom to give you a clear sight through the doorway in the kitchen and have your team watch it, that could have been a completely different fight. But it's not really quite the way it worked.
Well, I'll be interested to see how this round goes. As remember, Penta guarantee a minimum of 1 point at the end of the day.
Right.
OrgLess will have to fight 4 more rounds, 4 in a row, to even get 1 point out of it, the same that they got yesterday. Played a 1 for Europe. And we'll be heading back up to the loft, our room apartment here. The setup will come out for Penta, as they'll be reinforcing your usual suspect walls. I'm always interested in seeing Evil Eyes. Now I've switched my favorite run from Mira windows into Evil Eye positions. And well, the main hallway makes a lot of sense. You got a camera in it, but you also can set down an Evil Eye because the camera is the first thing you basically shoot down. We've seen the Bailiff being used quite a bit. Of course, the secondary for both Alibi and Maestro to take down certain hatches, to open up certain lines of sight. Odd thing here is that we haven't really seen Penta preset downstairs in the kitchen to fight any push from Hall of Fame or even from the main window from OrgLess. Of course, Para bringing the Para of Capitao to play with that. There you go, funny guy.
I feel like we've seen this before.
Yeah.
And I think it's always
Both
been
of us have said it.
It's always been noted because it is one of those funny coincidences. KS, though, will behead Kanto with that Dokkaebi rifle. The DMR doing good work, and you can hear him get a couple shots off, and the Doc is gone. I don't know what it is with these Docs trying to get a little bit too brazen with their plays. This is the 3rd time that a Doc on Coastline has gone for an early kill, going all the way back to the IDK match.
Yeah, you think you got an ACOG and a huge advantage. You know what? Your opponents have one as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, it takes 1 bullet to kill, but the Mark 17 is pretty darn good, and KS is one of the most proficient players on the Mark 15 EVR, so pretty easy position for him, even though he was stuck all the way back. Gets the first frag. Now Hall of Fame is practically open. They're just going to try to expend as much utility as possible from Pengu before they come on in. I'd still wonder where they're going to be able to use the Capitao. It's interesting how they switched to it after having lost the Ying, since it is banned in this matchup.
And it's really been something that has been tough for OrgLess. But when you have one player whose identity is tied so strongly to one operator, you know, it used to be Jonas, who was almost exclusively a Hibana Bandit player and has had to diversify, I think, because they realized that if you get shut down, you need to be able to flex onto other op picks. And that's something that with this pick ban phase has become even more crucial for teams. KS is going to work his way towards the main door of that bedroom penthouse. Pengu is situated on the other side, and a logic bomb will give his position away, and the call will have to go out. You can see that that Ash Charge is going to do more work on the barbed wire, trying to see if Pengu's going to peek, and he will be right in the crosshairs of KS, but Flash, as well as a smoke from his team, is going to obscure his vision, and it possibly might even get Pengu away just in time. He's going to be sitting amidst a huge amount of smoke, and he's a freebie as Rips just walks right in and tears him apart. A big advantage at the moment as Hungry's going to add to that, and there's only 2 members left. Fabian is going to go for the full rotate, knowing that there's no real choice. Para is there to greet him. Goga gets 1, but will be in a 1v4 clutch. He's got Para working away at the door, and then, of course, KS watching the cross, but Goga will go out and he'll get Para. He's got 3 more to go, but no hope whatsoever as KS is able to close it out for OrgLess and at least keep them alive facing down a match point.
Well, the record to beat is 2 rounds, and they're definitely on it here, but we'll remind you, OrgLess need 3 more to win after this. If they don't, then they're going to lose out on really anything today. They won't be exiting this this day with any point, and that's definitely a problem. However, since it's the 14-day play season, it's okay. You lose 1 game, you know, you pull a Cloud9, happens every now and then, and you can bring it back because there's quite a bit of matches for you to play. And, you know, we mentioned the start for Supremacy, playing against Penta and Millennium. It's no easy feat playing against the top.
I mean, in their defense, they can't pull a Cloud9 because they won 2 rounds.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will do that.
We'll probably see another sweep at some point. I'm almost certain of it, that we will definitely see another 6-0, and it will probably come at some point reasonably soon. But that was kind of the perfect storm to get us there. So, you know, if Penta's quota is allowing teams to get 2 rounds, then they've done that now, and they can finally close it out. Congratulations. You have been kind enough to your opponents now. End their suffering if that's what Penta is trying to do. But for OrgLess, that round was really methodical. They were able to get in and establish control of Bathroom. By killing Kanto early, it basically meant that Pengu was the only guy left to control that entire side of both of the sites. And once he was gone, that's when things really fell apart. You saw OrgLess used all of their gadgetry to continuously push their way into the site.
Well, Goga sitting up in the Sunrise Bar. Of course, he's got his yokais ready. Looks back at the cool vibe stairs. Right now, not really much to worry about as Penta are just running around completing their setup. Early on. Oh, that's a long angle. That's a pretty interesting yokai. We've been talking about potentially using the yokai as sort of a mobile Valkyrie cam.
Yeah.
Definitely possible in this case.
Yeah, there's lots of different angles that you can use with 2 of them and not really have to worry about how you're going to lose it. It always felt kind of strange, just as Echo, that you only had 1 and it was 1 shot and that was it.
Yeah.
You lose it. I mean, even Mira, she has 2 Miras and it takes 2 shots at least. Even with the Twitch drones, you got 2 Twitch drones. You know, mind you, a yokai was, of course, much more powerful, and we've seen it time and time again that rounds have ended because somebody's been mid-plan, and the yokai drone knocks them out of it. So at least for the change, it allows them to scout out with it, and that's probably what Penta's going to do, because with a team as good as they are, the more information they have, it's already tough to beat.
We'll see OrgLess continuing their droning. You need to make sure that they can scout out the defense of Penta, but at least there is a bit of a wide stretch for Penta Sports. They have set themselves in and around the map just to be sure that they can catch any play from OrgLess off guard. They're expecting KS to move in on the Dokkaebi, and that's exactly what we'll have. Trading it off what Aces have been playing for the past couple matches, actually. Finally, we'll see the Master at least possibly showing us some of his Dokkaebi plays. You saw that in the previous round, and it did end up in a victory. And you know what? First kill, KS on Fabium, taking him out.
I don't think he was expecting such a quick push into that office and went for the rotate itself and just wasn't able to pull it off, knowing that there were crosshairs trained right at him. And at least with the ADSs, they'll still be down, but Fabian being gone is a big blow in terms of fragging potential. He'll have to IGL from the sidelines. With about half of the round has expired at this point, Para will find Jonas, and it does appear that OrgLess is waking up. Para, though, will get down from Kanto, as you can hear the telltale signs of the Vigil from above. Gets a bit too greedy and tries to take out Aces, knowing that there's going to be a secondary push, and he loses the fight, leaving just Goga and Pengu once again, the 2 anchor players, especially Goga now, who's going to have to work his magic with those yokai drones. Has 2 weapons at his disposal, but Pengu will shred KS on a great pop-up through that open hole, leaving us with just under a minute to go. Still a big advantage for numbers of OrgLess, but 2 of them very, very hurt.
Goga still, and the Echo still holding in the Sunrise as Pengu is holding the second side in blue bar. They're the only 2 players left again from Penta. They'll have to be very careful about their own positioning. I wonder if the yokai drone is still left in the middle. Well, it doesn't matter now. Aces will get the kill on Pengu as Goga will trade 1 off the Bearing 9 on Para, finishing him off. He's fairly low on health on the IQ, but this is looking like a potential win for OrgLess. The diffuser will be set before the Echo can do much, and rips. Come in and rip through Goga. Rip and tear throw. That'll be the round for OrgLess. They put the 3rd one on the board and get closer and closer to a potential tie against Penta Sports. And that was, once again, a really good attack from OrgLess. And these past 2 rounds have been much more convincing that they are starting to adapt a little bit better. I mean, it's also been a couple mistakes from Penta. They've exposed themselves way too early in the round. We look at Kanto 2 rounds ago. You look at Fabian on that round in particular. And I'm confused as to why they get that aggressive that early on. It's cost them now twice in a row. I don't know if Fabian's necessarily was aggression, though. More so just the fact that he was going for a switch from the site, possibly to try and take advantage of an office that he thought was open, but was not open whatsoever, as, you know,
there were definitely people there waiting and watching. So this will have to be a much better defense for Penta as they've run the gamut. They started on Kitchen, they won it. They went to Penthouse, they lost. They went to Bars and lost. And the reason why, obviously, that 3-site rotation. So now that they go back to Kitchen, all they really need to do is just win this one as they did previously. Use the same defensive tactics that you have. Put maybe more than just Pengu in a situation to clutch it out, and you can hold on, and everything will be good from that point onward. But we'll see what happens. KS right now leading his team with 11 frags, and Para very quietly picking up 7 as well. The rest of his team lagging behind. As for Penta, you got Goga on top, joined by Pengu, and they both had some really crucial rounds for their team, really critical holds to keep it alive. It's not even just that they've been consistent through multiple rounds, it's also the fact that they've been able to steal rounds too.
Yeah, well, Fabian at least will use the setup of the Bailiff 410 to his advantage in the round. As we mentioned, it does allow you to, help out your smoke, as you will see a lot of echoes being played. Of course, a lot of echoes have been bringing Supernova. We saw that in our first match with Millennium bringing it with Renshiro. But the Bailiff offers you that extra bit without needing to sacrifice a huge weapon advantage of the MP5.
Right.
You can use that to your advantage in it. Again, we've seen a lot of plays in the Maestro. Hasn't been too effective in this particular matchup, but we'll see how this pans out. KS yet again bringing the Dokkaebi with aces on the Ashe. I think we found the switch that might just be the key to victory here for OrgLess.
And right now positioned at the bar window. One shot from Para just in case anybody's in there. It'll just prove as a warning shot to Pengu as he has to back off and work his way back towards that Sunrise bar doorway. I'll take out the drones. He'll get droned out once and twice, as well as Hungry's positioned there. Still waiting on the IQ to try and work their way in, and Para continue on his winning ways, landing the shots when he really needs to. This round, I'm really going to focus on KS's play in particular, not just because of the utility he brings, but the way that he's been playing so well in the stretch throughout the entire round.
Yeah, a lot of players on Dokkaebi have been relying on the SMG-12, but he's one of the players that has stated that he's very comfortable with the Mark 14 and really the SMG-12 as well. I mean, who isn't in that case? I'll try to play the 1v1 angle against Kanto, and a lot of damage has been done to Kanto Raketti. He'll be forced back as Aces has taken control of Hookah. Rips now in Sunrise Bar, looking to cut off rotations for Penta Sports.
Angle being held all the way through the courtyard. That'll see just a snippet of that main lobby in case that anybody decides to work their way through. Aces and KS in the buddy system upstairs in Hookah working their way towards Cool Vibes. Some destruction from Pengu being done downstairs on that kitchen wall was spotted by the Glaz of Rip, so he knows that they're making some changes and adjustments to the site as they need to midway through the round. Rips has worked his way now towards that Sunrise Bar and is staring all the way down the long angle. He's also been joined by Hungry, so all of OrgLess seems to be working in conjunction with each other, so that coordination has much improved over the last couple rounds.
All right, KS still set upstairs, and Aces will land a kill on Fabian, removing the Maestro from play. I hope for him that Evil Eyes have been preset, because to remind you, you cannot move their position. C4 will get thrown out, possibly by Goga on the mute. This is the only one that's pretty much carrying it here. Comes around, KS trying to fight in the VIP lounge, and will get the down. And the elimination on Jonas. In the meantime, Goga make one happen. KS running yet again head first into Kanto Raketti as Pengu comes in, taking KS out in the main courtyard. But there we go. Hungry and Rips will get the last two, and we get to round 4. Is this actually going to turn into a tie? That'll be very interesting, to say the least. We
are very, very close to that possibility, and it will at least go the full distance. So no matter what, Penta, who started off so strong, need I remind you, it was 5-1. They have now basically tossed away 3 rounds and 3 opportunities to close this deal, and could possibly be leaving points on the table. And as for a team like Penta, you're reasonably confident that they're going to make it into the top 4, possibly even the top 2, probably first place overall based on their track record, though I think EU is tightening, and this should be some worry for Penta and Penta's fans. But you've got 14 games to rack up as many points as you can. You don't want to be in a position where you're looking at it and saying, man, those 2 points really would help right now. And that could possibly be what they're saying in the 11th and 12th game if things don't work out for them as previous seasons have. So OrgLess, though, has found their mojo and seems to be frustrating Penta. Penta has just made a lot of really strange mistakes.
Yeah.
Losing early, Kanto getting really aggressive, picked off early, Fabian being the opening death now 2 rounds in a row, one of which he was making a strange change with a minute into the round, trying to go through an area where there is a door that you already know has been broken open. I hesitate to get too critical of them because I don't know why these things are happening, but a team that usually excels in getting the opening frag are now finding themselves in the opposite. They'll go back to kitchen once again for the 3rd time. They won it the first time, they lost it just now, and we'll see what the numbers are going to go for on the 3rd attempt.
They seem a bit flabbergasted at this point. OrgLess definitely looking comfortable with the match so far. They started off in a bit of a weak position, but then, as you mentioned, Penta kind of throwing away some of the rounds there due to some mistakes that we've never ever seen them make. It's very, very odd, to say the least. But we'll see how this works out as match point. We're on round number 10. As you mentioned, the full distance of this match. We potentially might see Penta win or tie in EU. Will be the 2nd tie for OrgLess potentially. We'll have to see. As Jonas still on the dock inside, and Goga looking for potential peak.
You've got both Kanto and Goga in a position where they are side by side, getting pinched, but Jonas will get the lead-off kill, and that's exactly what they need in this final round. That's Paradown, who has been a good shot for them so far, and IQ as well will mean that they can't track the Vigil as reliably. Keep in mind that when Vigil's cloaking device is active, IQ does pick up the Vigil on her scanner. Since Vigil is gone, well, or since IQ is gone, Vigil is going to be able to roam a bit more freely.
Well, KS still holding that long angle with the Mark 14, hoping that Pengu actually peeks through it as Hungry will make his way from the back. OTS-03 rattling in the back as they try to push into the Sunrise bar here. They want to push that smoke out, either kill him dead on the site or catch him on the rotation back into the kitchen. And
guns trained right now at Penta at the same angle, both on Pengu. You've got KS looking that way, Rips looking that way, and Pengu is as good as dead if he pops up at this point. There's very low likelihood that his SMG-11 will be able to outduel the DMR of Glaz as Rips works his way towards the foyer, creeping in ever so slightly, sees the vague silhouette of Goga and gets a shot in. The final gas canister from Pengu will be used, so Smoke will be without any of his utility, and we'll just have to rely on fragging potential from here on out. The Lion and the Ash, both above, will try to work on Pengu. You got 4 people. Every single member of OrgLess is focused on one operator, and that is Pengu. He knows that Rips is situated in that doorway as the DMR tries to get a couple shots on everybody working their way through. KS gets 1, but it's Pengu and Jonas with 2, giving Penta an advantage that will grow even larger in a 4v2, but Pengu gets a bit too hungry, and it's Hungry who will take him out, if I may say so. The Lion watching from above. Just KS and Hungry left as Hungry goes for a pre-fire through the wall. They still have to work their way through the bar and towards the kitchen, though.
Yeah, there's 30 seconds left on the clock, and KS will take down the standard cam. Jonas making sure he uses the stim pistol. Most of the time, the Docs will just forget about a huge bit of utility that they have available. Hungry, though, will hit the shots here. They'll have to push in on the side as Goga is spotted by Fabian on the side. Goga will peek in from the door, and he'll get the kill to take out Hungry. Well done. Penta will take this 6-4 against OrgLess.
It'll be Goga who actually takes it into his own hands.
That's how many clutches he's had this game? 4?
I think that's 3. I don't know if it's 4. I think it was
3 on the.
I think Pengu had 2 clutches and Goga had 2 or 3.
Yeah,
so
it's 2 on the defense that on the attack that Goga had, and I think at least 1 on the defense.
You can literally never ever count them out. No way, no how. You cannot count that team out, no matter what. Even when they're on the ropes, they find that they can bounce back and spring into the lead, and it will be Penta in a pretty frightening scenario for fans of Penta. But they at least clean up when it matters the most. That's a 6-4 victory for them. So